your boy Nelson from Miami, and I wanted to talk about in this video two of the fastest ways, methods that you can get your first wholesale deal in real estate. Okay, these methods I've tried and they work to a T. If you're first starting out, or you could be, maybe already experienced, either way, I'm going to try to explain to you the best way I can and getting you to understand the two fastest way to get your first wholesale deal, which requires, obviously it requires some talking and building relationships. Okay. So the number one thing is to basically target on-market deals or listed deals on the MLS. That's typically where a licensed agent will put a listing in for a house for sale. Okay. Now, the reason why I say that is because typically these agents work in this niche already. Okay. So they have a lot of experience, or maybe they have no experience, but either way, this is where you can go to get your first wholesale deal. Because typically they're selling a property that needs work, just point blank. So on the listing it says cash only. All right, because typically these kind of houses or apartments or whatnot, they require that you buy it outright with cash. Reason why is because you can't get a loan for these properties. Now, what I mean by a loan is your typical FHA type conventional loans, going to the Bank of America, because two things, they require an appraisal and an inspection. And they're inspecting the property to make sure that the property is up to par. And that's when you'll get the loan. Now, these kind of properties, you need to buy them cash or hard money, or some other kind of financing methods that I can discuss later. But point is, the real estate agent that you contact, and then let's say that property's under contract, for example. What do you do? Well, you ask the agent, hey, listen, you got anything else that you have coming up for sale? Or worst case scenario, if that contract falls through, give me a call, because I have cash buyers. Okay, I stress building a relationship with this person, because that can be a good source of leads, a good source of deals. A lot of the times that you get into wholesale, you'll either know someone, or you have someone as a cash buyer ready to close, or ready to, or a relative who's got money ready to go. So you're trying to look for a property. It's usually the fixer-uppers type properties. Okay. So you want to develop those relationships with these real estate agents, because it's tremendous. You can learn a lot from them, and also it's a good source for getting any kind of new properties before they even list them. Then you go into the off-market stuff. So before they list properties, typically they'll try to sell to their cash buyers, because a lot of people that investors such as myself that like a property where it's off market, okay, because you don't have too many people bidding on it. Now, once it's listed, problem is, there's no guarantee you'll get the bid unless you know the listing agent, if an agent has the property. Okay, so that's kind of how this function works, this business, this method. Okay, so you want to establish these relationships with these real estate agents or brokers who deal with these kind of properties, because not only do they target and search for them all the time, typically they have cash buyers as well. Just in the event that maybe you pick up a deal and you've developed a relationship already with this person, you can call them up and say, hey, look, I got this property, blah 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 blah. I'm gonna list it, or I'm gonna try to sell it to this person, but I thought of you first, giving that, starting that relationship. Okay, and they like that, because therefore there's more weight involved in the decision, meaning they can go to their investor and say, well, no, I've worked with this wholesaler before. They said they'll give me the deal if we make this offer on the property at this price that they're looking for. And it helps them sell to their buyers well, which in tune, you guys are working as a team when it comes to that. So there's little points in there that you're helping each other out in this kind of business. So I would say, definitely, find yourself a local agent that deals with these type of properties. Okay. Now the second method, right, is, well, I haven't heard too many of this, but this is a good way to get started, and it's fast. You ever go driving around and you see, in the corner there, we buy homes for cash, call me, we'll buy your home for cash. Doesn't matter, any condition, we'll pay cash for your house. Okay. They're called bandit signs. Typically they're there for like maybe a couple days and they get thrown away by the city, but there's a phone number there. Now, two things can happen with that, because obviously that's a prehistoric method. But locally, if you're targeting a specific neighborhood, those could be very, they could work well, if you know how to put them up, and it's costly. It can cost money, but it's worth it, because when you do the cost ratio of the time you spend and the money you spend on a little plastic sign writing your name on it or whatnot, and you picked up a deal and made 30 grand, you're not going to be like too upset about that. Okay. So bandit signs still work in local zones, if you will. But what I'm saying is to call them, call the phone number, and you're typically going to speak to probably another wholesaler. 9 out of 10, you're going to speak to another wholesaler. Okay. Or a cash buyer. Maybe they just buy cash, maybe they just buy homes straight cash. You never know who you're going to call on the other line. When you get across that line, then, you tell them that what you do, So you guys can form a bond there. In the same exact way that I told you about the realtor, you can do and, form an alliance with that wholesaler, and listen, I got cash buyers, listen, if this property is not for sale, or you ask them, say, listen, do you have a list of properties you got for sale that you're trying to move? 9 out of 10, they're going to say yes. Okay. And then, okay, great. Put me on that list. As soon as you get properties, you can send me the email. Eventually, over time, what happens is you develop what's called an email list. All right. And you're going to get tons of emails, and you're probably going to see the same house on different wholesalers, email blasts and whatnot, but you're eventually going to get to a point where you can tell, based on the price, because usually they, bump up the price. You can tell like who has it first, and then you can contact that specific wholesaler. Okay. It's a strategy that is not well used, but I can tell you that it's a faster way to pick up a deal than your normal doing your searching. And I'll tell you more in the next video about tax deed certificates, about how to work probate leads and things of that nature. But for reference, in the fastest 2 ways to pick up a deal, these will be your 2 fastest ways to pick up your first wholesale deal and start making some money. So I hope you enjoyed. And don't forget to smash that subscribe and like button there, so the algorithm of YouTube and whatnot can get it going. And I'm gonna keep giving you guys some great content. Okay, so